A very good morning, a very good evening to all of you, my dear students. Welcome back to the class once again. And in this chapter of constitutional design, we have come almost towards the end of the chapter, that is guiding values of the Indian Constitution. Now, let us begin. What are the values and what are the values that are guided by our Indian Constitution? Means the Constitution is just guiding us how to lead our life in this particular country. What should we do in our country? That is the values the Indian Constitution is guiding us. We can do this in two ways. We can learn about the values of the Indian Constitution in two ways. Okay, the first one, that we can understand it by reading the views of some of our major leaders of our constitution. So the leaders who were present at that time when the constitution were being getting drafted. So we will go through of the views. We will read few of the leaders' views regarding our constitution. Secondly, we can get the value of our Indian Constitution. We can know about the values of the Indian Constitution by reading what the Constitution says about its own philosophy. यानी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से पूछेंगे कि भाई तुम ही बता दो अपने बारे में कि आप क्या आपकी वैल्यू है. एंड फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वी विल गो थ्रू द वैल्यूज और द by reading the views of some of the major leaders है ना on our constitution. Means what are their views regarding our own constitution. We are going to read about them, about few leaders. Then afterwards we will go through about the constitution. The constitution will itself say about the values of its constitution. So that is the secondary matter we will go through. That is secondly we will go, this is also known as the preamble of the constitution. Means in the preamble the constitution says about its own philosophy. Constitution अपने बारे में बताता है कहाँ पर, preamble में. That we will go through in the chapter later on in the class. Okay, so let us learn, turn towards this firstly and secondly one by one. So first is about, we are going to have view of our major leaders. Okay, who is the first leader? Who can guess? Come on, who can guess? Who is the first leader? Yes, my dear students, you are all right. Everyone has said Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi was not a member of the Constituent Assembly. No one, because we know that Mahatma Gandhi was not included. He was not in the, yes, Sakshi Singh also saying, very good. Even Ravi Raj has said Mahatma Gandhi, and even Ravi Raj. Yeah, okay. So Mahatma Gandhi was not a member of the Constituent Assembly. Means he was not there in the drafting committee. But we will have to go through his views also, because he was not there. Let us see, he might have read the constitution and present his views also. He wrote Young India in the year 1931, where he had spelled out what he wanted the constitution to do. So way back before independence, Mahatma Gandhi wrote a book known as Young India in the year 1931. And in that book, he has mentioned that what the Indian constitution must do. So let us see what Mahatma Gandhi has written and guided us. Even though he was not there in the drafting committee, but his values, but his thinking may be there in the constitution. That's why he has suggested few things. See what he is saying. I shall strive for a constitution which will release India from all the thraldom. Thraldom means what? Bondage or slavery. So he's saying that I will try to write a constitution which will release India from all type of slaveries or bondages, and even patronages, that is favoritism. You might be knowing that if someone father is a prime minister or a chief minister, then his son or daughter may get very important post in government. They might get government jobs very easily because of favoritism. So Gandhiji is saying over here that he would write a constitution like that. He want a constitution like that which can release India from all the slaveries and favoritism, that is patronage. That is the first statement of Gandhiji. Let us see what he wrote further. I shall work for an India in which the poorest shall feel that it is their country, in whose making they have an effective voice. So he will write a constitution. He want a constitution that can really have the space for the poor people as well. He is saying that the poorest should feel that it is their country. And how would they feel? If you will give them their rights, if you will give the rights to the poor, if you will give poor equal opportunity to the poor in every field, then only they will feel that it is our country, they will feel that it is our constitution, they will believe in their constitution, and as well as they will follow the constitution as well. So that's why Gandhi is saying that he wanted a constitution which can really have some space for the poor as well, not only for the rich people. He wanted a constitution which can make the poor feel, which can make poor people feel that it is their country, and they have an effective voice over them. Means their voice are listened also, their demands are fulfilled also. So he wants the Constitution of India want to fulfill the desire, want to fulfill the needs of the poor as well. That is the second statement Gandhiji is saying. Let us see in the third statement. He is saying that he want the constitution in which there shall be no high class and no low class of people. So he is again saying he is against discrimination, he is against casteism. He is saying clearly that he wanted a constitution where there shall no be high or low classes of people. Everyone should be equal in the eye of law. Yeah, everyone should be equal also in the society also, not only in the eye of law but also in the society. We should not feel high class or low class of people. So yes, we can see the values that Gandhiji is giving to our constitution. He wanted our constitution like that. Now in the fourth statement, you can see he wants the constitution like that, in which all communities shall live in perfect harmony. Means everyone should feel that we are brother and sister, we are the part of a society, we are the part of the same family. He wanted the Constitution of India to make feel everyone that we are all part of the same family. We are not we will not disturb others, and we will have a belief on live and let live others also. In the fifth statement, he is saying that there can be no room in such an India for the curse of the untouchabilities. Now he's saying that there should be no room for untouchability. Means he wanted untouchability to be abolished, है ना, पूरी तरीके से वो खत्म करना चाहते थे untouchability को with the help of the constitution. That's why he's saying that he wanted the constitution which can really finish off the untouchability. He also saying that the curse of the intoxicating drinks and drugs. He's also against, Gandhi is also against that drinks as well as drugs also, which can really harm the health of the people. So if he had made that constitution, then he must have write the provision which can really very, very, very tough for the people who believes on untouchability or who are indulged in drinks and drugs. That are the values that are the thinking of Mahatma Gandhi. He is also saying about something about the women as well. He's saying that he wanted the constitution where women will enjoy the same right as men. He's saying that women and men are equal and they should enjoy the same right, the same privileges. Now, over here, my dear students, who can one more statement is there. Let me say, he's saying that I shall be satisfied with nothing else. He wanted the constitution, whatever maybe you are going to make in the constitution, but he wanted all these points in the constitution of our country, India. So that is the thing, that is the really thinking of our great Mahatma Gandhi, that he's thinking about India. Now I have let us go through the dream and the promises. That is the next value. Who can tell me? Yes, I got a chat from there. B.R. Ambedkar. Okay, let us see. Everyone is right. Kritika is right. Okay. So we are going to have a view from Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and he was the chairman. You can see he was the head of the constitution of the drafting committee. He was the chairperson. So we must have his views also, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's view. Let us see. Who played a very key role in the making of the constitution? Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, but he had a different understanding how inequalities could be removed. Very good. So we must have a view of a person who was the chairman, who was the head of the drafting committee. We must go through the views. And what is he saying? How can we remove inequalities from our country, which is yet prevailing in our countries? Let us go through his views. In his concluding speech, And why is there any link? I think there is any link in the word speech. Let us see. Oh my God, it is there. Okay, let us go through. On 26 January 1950, we are going to enter a life of contradiction. He's saying we are going to enter into a life of contradiction. Means now he's saying that after drafting the constitution, after adopting the constitution, still he is saying that we are going to enter into a life of contradictions where people will not agree. Well, there will be a contradiction among the people. Now, what is that? The B.R. Ambedkar, the head of the drafting committee, is saying that we are going to enter into a life of contradiction. Why is he saying like this? Let us see. In politics, we will have equality, and in social and economic life, we will have inequality. Now he's saying, you can see over Dr. B.R. Ambedkar is saying that yes, we have equality in politics according to the constitution. We will have equality in politics, but we will not have equality in social and economic life. He's saying with the by drafting the constitution, he must have gone through some of the clauses which might be hurting others, which might be the cause of inequality in the social and the economic life of the people. That's why he's saying in the concluding speech, my dear students, and after adopting, that is 26 January 1950, we have adopted. And now in the concluding speech, he is saying such statements. He's saying in politics, we will be recognizing the principle of one man, one vote in politics. Means while casting vote, while giving vote in the for electing the representative of our country, we will follow the principle of one man, one vote, and one vote, one value. That is good. That is good. One man, one vote, and one vote will have one value. That is all good. He's saying in politics that is all good. But in our social and economic life, we shall, by reason of our social and economic structure, he's saying, by our social structure, by our economic structure, he's saying, unfortunately, he's saying that in our social and economic life, by reason of our social and economic structure, continue to deny the principle of one man, one value. Yes, we are giving some person more value and we are giving some person less value. He's talking, I am really quite sure that he's talking about the casteism. He's talking about the upper class and the lower class. That's why he's saying that one man, one value will not be there in terms of social and economic structure of our country. That is why he's saying he's very, you can see from his concluding speech that he is not happy. He is happy with the constitution. He is saying that according to the constitution, we will have one person, one vote, one value. But he is saying, he is also watching, he is also there, and he is also viewing and realizing that according to the social and economic structure, we can't follow the principle of one man, one value. How long shall we continue to live this life of contradiction? He's saying, he's putting a question mark, and I think this question mark is still there in our country. Still we the people are feeling some about someone lower and some but higher classes, belong to higher and lower classes. We still are following this. So he was right, my dear students. He was thinking, and he was saying, and he was really worried. He was saying that how long shall we continue to live this life of contradiction? How long shall we continue to deny equality in our social and economic life? How long? He's saying this question mark is still there in our society, my dear students. Everyone is really not equal in the sense of what? In the sense of social and economic life. Everyone is not wealthy and everyone is not poor. Someone are wealthy and someone are poor. Even some we give respect to someone who has a higher rank class, lower classes. This all continues in our city, in our country. That's why he was very worried at the time of adoption of the constitution as well. At that time, he was saying these statements. If we continue to deny it for long, what is he saying? Last statement is very important, my dear student. He's saying, if we continue to deny it for long, we will do so only by putting our political democracy in peril. Peril means perish, khatam ho jana. We will put our political democracy in finish mode, है ना? वो भी खत्म हो जाएगा जो हमारे पास जो है equality है politics में. That will also be ruined, है ना? That will also be finished if we continue it for long. What he's talking about the contradictions, about the principle of one man and many values, one man no value. We are following this principle in our country for from the long time. That's why over here he is putting the question mark that how long can we really follow this thing of injustice, or you can say inequality. So he was a great man, and that's why he has written such great thing. He has given such written given us that really he is worried. He is saying that you can see he stated his concern over the unequal status of the Dalits, especially he is talking about the Dalits, but not particularly Dalits, everyone who are considered as lower class, he's talking about them. He said that in politics, the Dalits would definitely enjoy equality. So we know that the Dalits are also getting equal opportunity in contesting the election. They can also stand in the election and contest it. So he's saying that in politics, the Dalits will definitely enjoy equality, but in social and economic life, they would have inequality. Is it right, my dear students? He told that in social and economic life, they would have inequality. They might have equality in what? In politics, but in real life, they will have inequality.